walking. I think this is a song that I don't know, but we're walking to a new episode of HowDoWeHuman. It's the podcast where we overanalyze all the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. I'm one of your hosts, Seven Cox.
I'm one of your hosts, Chris Binning.
Today we're talking about walking. Was that a real song I was singing? I'm not at all positive. Maybe.
It sounded familiar. I just much
like
you, if
I'm
there
walking.
is, like, I truly don't know the rest of what that could be, but it does sound familiar.
Let us know. Leave us a review on iTunes or whatever the fuck it's called now.
Or when you take our little podcast survey, just pop it in there somewhere.
Yes, howdowehuman.com/survey. We are talking about walking today, not walk in. Oh,
wow.
We're good. You're better than I am. I'm a one-syllable walking impression, and then I'm out. But before we get walking, let's maybe stroll a little bit. I just want to stroll down the streets of your life and ask how you doing.
You know, I'm doing okay. Speaking of walking, this story is sort of the end of a long journey, if you will. About 10 months ago, listeners of this podcast may remember, I broke a tooth and I needed to get an implant in.
So much has happened since then that it's been completely off my mind.
So it's been about a 10-month journey.
Wow.
I was supposed to. I took the scans and molds and stuff for the implant in early January, right before my 3-week vacation, and they said, when you get back, we're going to have it ready for you. When I got back, I went there, I sat in the office for like 45 minutes, and they were like, actually, we don't have it. Come back next week. I went back the next week. Or I was going to go back the next week. They called me the day before and were like, hey, we'd want to avoid you sitting in our space for 45 minutes. We don't have it this week either. Come back next week.
Well, how kind of you.
I came back the next week. They called me the morning before my appointment, and they were like, just want to make sure you'll be here. And I was like, I want to make sure that you have it this time. Yeah. And they said, we double checked. We definitely have it. And I said, great, I'll be there. Now I go to get the implant in, but I don't know. Something about me saying, I want to make sure you have it this time.
Yeah.
I felt walking in there like everybody was mad at me. And I know that that's not the case. Just rationally, there's I have not been difficult about them having this delayed for now 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they were actually mad at me, but it was one of those I'm just being playful, right? I'm not like, you fuckers better have my tooth. So I did feel like, I felt like maybe they were mad at me, but I do have my implant in. So now I can go back to living my life the way I was before, i.e. not going to the dentist ever again. I'm kidding. I'll still go. I don't want this to happen again. This took a lot of time and money.
Yeah. How's it feel in there?
Feels weird because, obviously 10 months I didn't have anything in there. And so my body kind of got used to it. I'm getting more used to it now. I've had it for a little less than a week. So it doesn't feel as weird as it had the first day or two that I had it. But for the most part, it just feels like it's a little bit further out than the rest of my teeth. So I feel like my cheek on the inside, I can feel where that one is specifically.
Weird. weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird feel. I went a long time without major dental procedures, and then mentioned before having all those wisdom teeth taken out, and then like a couple of years ago, a year ago, I had fillings put in for the first time. And now, now I'm thinking about it again. So I'm like, if you're watching on video, you could see me tonguing all my fillings. Just like, they do still feel weird, but you do get over it. Just like any change in your mouth, it's just like, I don't like it.
Yeah. I wish that the dentist's office had a better way to take x-rays, because their little fucking x-ray thing that they put in your mouth jams up into the roof of my mouth so bad that I like can't close my bite all the way, but they need me to close it for the x-ray, but the thing they have in there just jams up into the roof of my mouth, or on a certain angle will jam underneath my tongue, and both of those things are so painful.
Yeah. Definitely, when I've had dental
it's
x-rays, it's digging into my gums. It's just like, comfort's never a concern.
Right.
We need you to close your mouth and hold it closed. I'm like, okay, make it easier for me to do that.
Exactly. Anyway, Evan, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. I was having trouble remembering. I had a story I was going to tell that's more recent, but then I couldn't remember because it felt similar to your story. Did I talk about, and do I even want to talk about, my experience getting dog food from my vet recently? That doesn't sound
I don't know.
familiar.
Do you? I don't believe you've talked about it. No.
I guess I'm going to talk about it. Just because that reminded me of that feeling. So I went. So my dog was having just minor, like, gastrointestinal issues, just kind of vomiting up bile a couple times a day.
Sick.
Yeah, you love to see it. Nothing I was super concerned about. It's just a little bit, but it's like, if it's that consistent, you do want to go get it checked out. We went to the vet. They're like, yeah, it's just like a minor gastrointestinal thing, a reaction to the food she's eating right now. We're going to put her on a diet. This is special food, Hill's Science Diet vet request. So you need a prescription for this version of it. I'm like, all right, let's try it. It's $50 a bag, which is steep, but if that'll be, she's getting older anyways, and at a certain point I'm like, yeah, I should be feeding her better food anyways, so let's just do it. So I get her on this food. She eats it all. I get another bag. She eats it all in one day. Just I let her go free reign on the bag.
I think I know why she's sick.
I just kind of open the bag and then stick her face in there, upside down, her little legs kicking. So now it's time. Months have passed. Each bag lasts, feels like about 2 months, which is good. She's a small dog. She doesn't eat much. And so, yeah, we're like 3 or 4 months past it at this point. I go back in. Again, I have to go to the vet to get this. They have my prescription on file. I've got to go there, tell them all the info. They look it up and go, okay, here's your bag, blah, blah, blah. And I go in there. We're out of food. I'm not like buying these early because I don't want to spend $50. I want to wait. So she's out of food. I go in there and they're like, hi, what can we do for you? I'm like, hi, I've got a prescription for my my dog's dog food, Hill's Science Diet, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, ooh.
The only prescription is more cowbell.
The only prescription we have is more cowbell. Does that help? They're like, are you, which also I've been coming here for a while now. They don't recognize me, but they're like, did you start coming here within the last 6 months? And I'm like, I don't think so. Possibly, but I feel like I've been coming here for like a year or more. And they're like, okay, well, our system crashed and we don't have any of the information for any of our patients who started coming over the last 6 months. Now, first, first complaint here is anywhere you go, doctors, vets, whatever, they have you fill out fucking paperwork. And it takes a while. You tell them all the information, they type it into the computer, but you also have to fill out paperwork, like multiple sheets, address, dog issues. There's paper going left and fucking right. But now the system crashes and they have no evidence that I've ever been there before. And they're putting up a wall so that I can't get food for my dog that they prescribed me until I can prove that I'm supposed to be there. The woman I was talking to there specifically said to me, because she's like, do you have a receipt for the last dog food? I'm like, do I have a receipt for dog food I bought 2 months ago? No. And I was being calm at that point. But she was like, she said word for word, help us help you. Are you fucking kidding me? Fine, I'll go root around in my car for a dog food receipt, see if I can find anything. Like, this is on you. Get off my ass.
100%.
So I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'll figure it out. And I start leaving. But there's a new person there. This woman is like, wait. Come back. You say you have a prescription here? I'm like, oh, thank God. Yes, I do. Okay. What's your last name? She like looks it up on the computer. Our system crashed. We don't have you in the system right now. I'm like, I know. That's what she was being a little
That's
shit
what
about.
she said.
That's what she said. She's like, okay. Well, and just grilling me, trying to get as much info out of me to prove that I'm a patient here. They can't get to it. She's like, okay, here's what I can do. We have a doctor back there. Let me go ask him a question. She goes, asks him, comes back. She goes, all right, we can do something for you. If you can fill out the new patient paperwork, then we can enter that into our system. You will be a patient here and we can get you that dog food. Do you remember which type it is? And I was like, okay. So, yes, it's the Hills Science Diet GI something. She's like, is it the ID? I'm like, it says ID on it. I thought that was like the sub-brand. Is that the type? She's like, no, that's a specific type. Now that I questioned it at all, she does not accept that I'm just like, yes, then. If that's the case, yes, it's the ID. She's like, we need you to know. We can't just give you food. I'm like, ma'am. But again, I'm being fucking chill. And I swear this story's almost over. I know I'm going long again. I'm just getting riled up all over again. And so she gives me this paperwork to fill out, and I'm filling it out. And it comes to address. And I start filling out my address. Now I have a home address and where stuff's mailed, which is my P.O. box. And the section I started filling out was mailing. They had two sections, mailing address, physical address. I started filling out mailing address with my address. Listen, I've talked to the post office. They're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. If you put that address on, it comes here and goes to your post office box. We've got it covered. So I'm just like, all right, I started writing it. I'll just fill it out. It doesn't fucking matter. And she comes over and like is looking down at what I'm writing. And she's just like, are you sure that's your mailing address? Yeah, it is. It needs to be like the place that USPS drops packages off. And I crumpled that paper in my hand and I said, fuck it. I just said, I'll figure it out. I'll get some other food. I was just like, I'm fucking done. I left.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. So I walked out of the place and I'm just like, I'm fucking done. I'll get some healthy food. This isn't a serious health condition. I'll just put her on a different diet and we'll figure it out. And then like days later, I get a message on my phone from that same woman, just like, we're really sorry about that. Our system's back up and we see that you are a patient. And if you want to come, she's like, I understand if you don't want to come back. But if you want to come in, we've got your food ready for you. And I was in a headspace to just like suck it up. I'm just like, I didn't find other food. She does need this food. I'm just gonna go. And that woman was there, and she was so like afraid. Like, I'm not an asshole. I'm a very nice, reasonable person, but you two kept me here for an hour.
Yeah. Did you? You know what? This is the type of pettiness that I would have.
I wanted to be petty so bad.
I would have. Maybe you already have an empty one somewhere in your house, but I would have stopped at like Michael's, bought a picture frame, and when they print out the receipt, I would have put it in the picture frame and been like, "Don't worry, I'll have it next time."
That's funny.
I do have a question though,
All
because
right.
would they have? Do they need proof that you've been there at all, or do they need proof of what you bought?
That was the troublesome thing, is it felt like the first person needed proof of what I bought, and the second person was going like, if we can just prove you're a customer, then it's fine. So it was a little bit of both, depending on who I was talking to. Yeah.
Because I feel like I wonder if they would have, because I doubt that you paid for this in cash. So I would assume that you like have a credit card or debit card statement saying what you bought, or not what you bought, but the amount you paid and from where.
Yeah.
And would that have been
enough?
Good enough for them?
I don't know.
We'll
Didn't
never
come
know.
up. I was too
until
annoyed.
their system crashes again. We'll never know.
That was the main thing I wanted to be like, it's not on me. This is on you fucking people. Your system. They're in a professional setting. Backups have to exist. There's no excuse for like, oh, the system crashed. Now everything's gone? What are you fucking talking about?
Yeah. What if you fill out paperwork?
Where did it go?
Right
in the shredder.
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably should have just said all that stuff, because I'm just like, you guys treated me like I was trying to rob the place.
Right.
Which we'll get into today, as it somehow relates to walking.
Ooh,
I think I have an aura. I have an aura about me. People don't like me here. I don't know what's going on.
We saw each other recently.
Surprise.
Mommy and daddy are back together. But we were watching the Oscars together.
A little Oscar party.
I think maybe Adrian Brody's speech is still going, but you and your girlfriend were mentioning, hey, people are very like, you always hear about the small town vibe. Everybody's so friendly. Everybody wants to get to know each other. But you've had a lot of experiences that are that reek of neighborhood paranoia.
Yes.
Extremely. People do not want to interact together or acknowledge that you are a customer there, or do live on that street, or whatever, or belong there.
It's like weirdly elitist and exclusionary. We've met a lot of wonderful people out there. Are we getting into walking? Did we do it?
We're getting into walking.
We walked over the bridge?
Yeah. Yep. We crossed that
bridge. Not the Rainbow Bridge. My dog is still alive. Okay, 2 segues. 2 good segues at the same time.
Equally good.
2 for your money. Which is nothing. Yeah, so again, I mean, we both know this. Anybody that's lived like in major cities knows, like, yeah, sure, there are dangerous parts. You can run into things that are dangerous. But truly, like, between living in Seattle and living in Los Angeles, California, I felt great, like walking around my neighborhoods there. You see people are fucking nice. Everyone's like, how's it going? Oh, your dog's so cute. I'm like, people do talk to each other.
Or they leave you alone.
Or they leave you alone, which is fine. 100%
Because
fine.
you now live in a situation that's in
Can't
the middle of those.
We're not going to be nice, but we're not going to leave you alone. Yeah, but I mean, I've reported to us, reported to this podcast, at least one of these situations early on, which there's basically, I have to walk my dog. She's a little ball of energy, and she needs to get that energy out. And I used to walk her around the city, around the block, and now I'm walking around here. And there's like two directions I can go, because as you know, once you leave my place, one direction, that's not happening. That road's terrible. And then the highway is going this way. So I've just got, there's a block I can either go up this hill or I can go up that hill. And ran into a situation where I'm like, oh, my dog's peeing. So I'm standing outside of someone's house while my dog's peeing. And I guess I was there long enough for some woman in an American flag t-shirt to come out and just be like, hi. And again, it's always under the guise of friendliness. Hi there. We just saw you on the camera. Were you needing to come in? I'm like, no, ma'am, I'm walking my dog. Oh, interesting. And just like asking questions like, what? All with the connotation, what the fuck are you doing here? Never seen you before around these parts.
Yeah.
And it's gotten more explicit the more I've walked. This has happened 3 separate times. And most recently, which this pisses me off all the more, it's a house I can see from our house. It's just up the hill from us. But I walked past it, and again, my dog was smelling something. I'm not one to just yank my dog along on a walk. She gets her energy out as a little detective, sniffing stuff. So she's doing that. And so I'm standing in one spot. I guess that's suspicious. And so this woman comes out. She's, hi. Who are you? Good to meet you too, ma'am.
Yeah.
Is this how you introduce yourself to everybody? Who are you? I said, my name's Evan. She's like, what are you doing? I'm walking my dog. Are you around? You're from around? Or no, it's always the question like, everyone expects it's Airbnbers or something.
Right.
Like, you're here. I'm like, no, I live right over there. She's like, oh, where exactly? Like, really trying to get to the bottom of it. And I wish I'd realized at the time, like, hey, ma'am, you can see my house from your back fucking yard. I've been there for more than a year. Let me walk my dog, please. No, and then it's once I've proven myself, like, yeah, I fucking live here. Lay off. It's like, oh, Dave down the road was robbed a while ago. Somebody robbed his place. I'm like, oh, cool. Better assume everyone you see is a robber then. That's a good way to live your life and make friends in the neighborhood. And it was just everything she had to say to me was like, well, this Cheryl over here had this happen. Dave over here. I'm like, ma'am, I don't know any of these people. I don't live on your block. That doesn't mean I'm a stranger. I walk down this road like multiple times a day. This is just your first time seeing me.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
I've told a lot of stories.
2 stories so far of
how
you...
much living up here sucks.
Yeah.
I do. I love it, though. I love it up here. It's just... It's 70% of the people who live up here are terrible.
Yeah, that's too high a percentage for me.
It is. For both of us. We won't be here too much longer.
Yeah, I mean, I have been looking at other places to move.
Mm-hmm.
And just for fun, I kind of looked like up near you, like, hey,
Yeah.
what's in our budget over there?
Genuinely how we ended up here in the first place. It's just like we come up here for vacations. This is like, well, check it out. See what we find. We
Yeah.
found something.
I did. We toured a place, a week ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I won't say too much about it because I think that after we decided on this episode, I was like, that's the episode I was thinking about doing. But
Right.
it was in a walkable neighborhood, and I love a walkable neighborhood. That's
Same. It's
huge.
everything.
And it's like Los Angeles is not really known for being in most areas a walkable thing. It's either, all city buildings or it's all residential buildings. But this was a nice little mix of both. And I think that's like not something I would have necessarily like. It's not at the top of my list of housing requirements, but it is starting to climb up the list of like living somewhere where you can just walk to restaurants. The place where we are staying now is a fairly walkable area. It's nice to be able to walk like half a mile, and then there are restaurants and you can grab takeout or whatever. In fact, I went to pick up a pizza from a place down the street from where we are regularly staying. I ordered a margarita pizza, Evan.
Love that.
Now, I've never seen... I took a video of this pizza because...
What happened?
I didn't think to take the video of it until I'd eaten half of it. But my point will still stand. Because this pizza that I got, I want you to take a look at how big the leaves are on this margarita pizza. Was that the size you were expecting? These gigantic leaves.
I am all about... I love...
That's as big as the slice.
I love full basil leaves on pizza, but yeah, those are huge.
Those are like gigantic
basil
banana
leaves.
Yeah.
Wow. That's extreme. So not worth a walkable neighborhood after all.
Yeah, I mean, it is nice to be able to walk around and stuff, because I think also walking is so nice. It's such a nice little activity.
Yeah.
Get you active and you feel great.
Yeah. Our general lives, we're doing a lot of staring at screens. I recently found walk in the other direction after a neighbor threatened my life.
Yeah, you were like, I'm going to change the route.
I mean, it sounds dramatic to say, and I don't mean to get back on that topic, but like truly, that was one of my favorite streets to walk down. And I'm like, genuinely, I'm not ever going there again. I don't want to deal with these people. And I'm sure I'll find them going the other way. But anyways, I found a little hiking trail. I got to drive there because it's up a stupid steep hill. So then like once I get there, I'm already exhausted and don't feel like going for a hike. But it's just a little like all flat ground, like a nature walk. And it's so nice that close to my house to just go there and just spend a half hour or something just walking around in the woods. It's nice.
Yeah. At what point do you think you'll reduce your dog walking loop to just up and down the driveway?
I mean, you did it recently. It is a walk going up and down the driveway.
It is, yeah. It's a steep, long driveway.
It's a workout. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But no, that's what I loved about my old location. I didn't love my apartment itself, but the area I lived in the Virgil Village area, and I did have to go up and down a steep hill to leave or go back to my place. But once you're down there, it's like There's a market right there. Go down that way. It's a bit of a walk, but I can get to the grocery store. You and I would record there, and then once we walked down to the movie theater and saw Taika Waititi in person.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. I love that. I think that's a huge one to me. I've had it twice in my life, when I lived there and when I lived in Long Beach, that I was in walking distance to a movie theater. That rules.
When I lived in North Hollywood, I was walking distance to the movie theater, and it was also during the peak of Movie Pass.
Yes.
And man,
see, that's worth
I was
it.
there all the time.
I bet. I never signed up for the Movie Pass thing or the whatever the other version was. Regal, I think I had one, but I never did those because it never felt like I would get to the movies often enough because I'd have to drive somewhere, and it was just like, whatever.
Exactly.
Because that was when I was living at that apartment, which I was, I can dox where I was now. It was near the Vista Theater, which that's not an AMC.
Yeah.
I'd have to drive quite a ways to get to an AMC. I'm just like, I'm not going to use it that often. But if I lived in walking distance, fuck yeah.
Exactly. It was like even stuff I didn't even care to see that much. It was just like, this is something to do. And it's always, because I still do this now, where I've mentioned that where we park for work is probably like just under half a mile from our actual work. And you can take a bus that half mile, or you can walk. And I walk every day that it's not raining.
Yeah.
But it's also like walking on my lunch break to one of the nearby restaurants, especially since we haven't been fully back in our place yet post fires. It's been a lot harder to bring lunch to work every day, which is what I used to do.
Yeah.
And ever since I've been back at work, almost every single day I'm buying lunch from a restaurant, which is not great financially, but that's also just maybe that's like a third of a mile or something like that. But it's always like, oh, well, I bought lunch at Togo's, but I walked over there. So it was also exercise. And so it's okay Togo's. That I spent that money.
Is there still a Togo's over there?
Togo's is so good.
It's funny because that specifically was making me think of when I worked at my last job, which was in Culver City. I hated that job so fucking much. And I was there for, I think, 3 years. And walking was everything. It's just like, get some fucking work done, head down, ignore bullshit as much as I can, and then leave. It just feels so much more like I'm leaving. Yeah, I'm going to be gone for a little while because I can take a lunch break and I could walk. We were close enough to downtown Culver. I could walk down there. It was fucking great. But there used to be a Togo's in the area outside of, if anyone knows Culver City, there's a Sprouts, and there used to be a Togo's. It is now a Jersey Mike's. I can say in general, I approve of that switch. But
yeah,
I used to love Togo's. I would go there so often, and they closed. And most of them closed, so I'm surprised to hear one still exists.
Well, it recently opened. It opened maybe... It opened whenever... gosh, I don't remember how long ago this was. This must have been in December.
Wow.
Or November.
Good for
it was
you, Togo's.
It had been open for a little bit before this, but I remember the first people at work that went there to get food went the night of the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. So whenever that was is right around when it opened.
Well, that's where I want to be during a fight. Let's go to Togo's.
But I there's hardly ever anybody in there. I feel like I am single-handedly supporting their franchise.
That's how I felt at the Culver location, and obviously I didn't do enough. But also when I lived in Long Beach, I was in walking distance to a Togo's. They were just around more. I don't know if it was, I'd never heard of them before I lived in California. So maybe it's mildly regional. I know they're elsewhere.
I had never heard of them until they opened a couple months ago. So
So, okay, I haven't been to a Togo's then in probably more than 5 years.
Yeah,
I got to come to work with you.
You do. It's I don't know if you felt this way either at that Togo's if you went often enough or at other establishments, but I am kind of like how do I befriend the staff? Like how do they not see me come in and they're still asking the name on the pickup order? Like, don't you know? Don't you see that order come in and you're like, I know exactly who this guy is. That's I don't know. I want them. I think I want to be friends with the Togo's staff, and I don't understand why they're not making the first move.
Damn, I'm sorry. I don't know now this is just an episode about Togo's, but I don't know the origin of Togo's itself. The owners at the Culver place were Greek, and I was always like, this could be just like a Greek-owned sandwich place. I don't know the history of it.
I don't either. There is also, I've never been because they don't have online ordering, but there is a Greek place right next to Togo's.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so the little, I don't want to give away too much of my assassination coordinates, as it were, but there's a little group of restaurants in there. There's a Greek restaurant and a seafood restaurant, a sushi restaurant that's different from the seafood restaurant, Panda Express, a couple other places. But
wish I didn't love that, but love Panda
I know.
Express.
And then there's a Jersey Mike's that's just too far to walk. But I'll pass it on the way driving in. And so if I leave 5-10 minutes earlier, I'll just pick up Jersey Mike's and have it later on my lunch break. But yeah, it's all of those businesses except for Togo's are always busy. And Togo's, I have at most seen one other customer in there at the same time as me.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like at the other one. I knew they were struggling, and I knew it. It was kind of like the Quiznos, except they never got as popular. But that fast, just like they all closed. So,
yeah,
hey, I'm glad to hear that. It just always felt like compared to Jersey Mike's, and I love Jersey Mike's. I'd say I like Jersey Mike's more.
But I do too.
Togo's always felt like it's way easier for me to get something moderately healthy.
Yes, it feels healthier for some reason.
Good ingredients, easily available. Not a super high, at least at the time, not a super high upcharge. I would do avocado spread instead of mayonnaise, and hey, that went a long way. Them's healthy fats.
I've been getting. They have their salads also. I know that this is just a true Togo's episode.
The episode just be walking to Togo's.
But they have their salads, but they'll also, you can get their salads in the spinach tortilla as a wrap, and that's what I've been doing mostly. Because, hey, some of their sandwiches, I've experimented on the menu a little bit. Some of those sandwiches are not very good. Some of them are great, but some of them are not very good.
I think this is the Togo's problem, is a lot of the pre-made sandwiches. People always want to go in and go well, obviously, I'll get what they're making. I don't think Togo's is a place for that. Subway it. Pick your ingredients out. Right. Make the sandwich that's going to be good for you. And the ingredients are great.
Yeah.
I'd walk for Togo's. I'm gonna open a Togo's on the mountain. Let's go. Wonder what the nearest Togo's to me is. Now I want a sandwich.
I wonder too.
Let's see. I was going to say I don't know if I still have it. Hopefully I do. A Togo's loyalty card with some punches in it. I don't know if they still accept them even.
I don't know if they do either.
They have their send that your way.
They have their online rewards points or whatever. I wonder if that replaced the loyalty card.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. There is actually a Togo's not far, 45 minutes away.
All right, sounds like you're getting Togos today.
It's right between Fontana and Rancho Cucamonga, which my doctor's in Fontana, so I'm going to be getting Togos in the near future. I'm thrilled.
Something that is kind of a bummer about these fires is all of the like hiking trails in Los Angeles, with the exception of like Runyon Canyon and Griffith Park, are basically closed. So everything near the Palisades is closed, and everything near us is closed. There's a hiking trail, or it's really even like less of a hiking trail and just kind of like a walking nature path that I used to love and would go down maybe once or twice a week, and that's closed and is probably going to be closed for a very long time. And walking around the neighborhood is also tough with all of the burned to the ground buildings and the cleanup that they're going to be kicking up for the next year, perhaps.
It's not
I don't know how long it's going to take.
Walk.
But yeah. But those used to be things that I used to enjoy, and it is healthy to do, but it's also like, I think I tricked myself into thinking it's healthier than it is. Probably like I tricked myself into thinking Togo's is healthier than it is.
But it's something is the thing. It's like the death of the body is just stopping doing anything. And I spend a lot of time on my couch playing video games and watching TV and shit like that. So everything helps. I do have a specific walking related question. This is a big one. Okay. This is I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with me. I know, and we could talk about that also. I'm a person with longer legs, and I can be a bit of a fast walker. I'm a person with longer legs with time anxiety, so I want to get there faster. So I've trained myself to just speed walk everywhere I go, which doesn't work in a relationship if you're walking somewhere together. But the thing I've absolutely never unlocked, to the degree that I'm like, is this a myth and just a thing that I see in movies and TV that people don't actually do, is walking while holding hands. I can't do it.
Yeah, I have done it, but it's not always my preference. I think I'm also the same as you. I do walk faster than my wife, and so sometimes I need to recalibrate. And
we've walked a few places. I think we walk at a pretty similar speed.
I think so, yeah.
All this to food. We also walked to Shake Shack after that opened.
Yeah.
In my neighborhood. We know what's up. Went to your place, walked to Doghouse.
Doghouse, yeah, that's true. I didn't put that together, but yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Because then it's always like, sure, I'm getting this food that's like maybe not great, but I walked there, so it cancels out.
Yeah, that was the problem at my old place. It's a long walk down to Sunset, but then it's Shake Shack, ice cream, gelato, all stuff that's going to kill me.
Yeah, I know.
All stuff I love.
It's true.
It's also
there are two different ice cream places in walking distance where we're staying, and one of them was the one that was crazy expensive, and then the other one is reasonable, and they give you more ice cream.
Love that.
That one, of course, is a little bit further, but worth it.
Worth it.
But yeah, I love that is something, as I've looked at other apartments, and I'm not 100% sure we're actually going to move.
Yeah.
Mostly because I'm the one who wants to move. So I'm not really sure that it's going to happen. But these are things that, like, when you see the listing and you look at it, and sometimes if it's a listing I like, I'll go on to Google Maps or whatever and be like, search nearby, search movie theater. How close is it? search, grocery store, search ice cream. How close is it? And really hoping to find stuff that's still close by.
Yeah. It makes a difference.
It does.
I mean, it's maybe less so now, but that always has been my number one thing I'm looking for. And before we ended up here, we were looking at we were just talking about that. We were looking at a place in Inglewood, and just loved walking around that area. It was so nice. And then the apartment was balls.
Yeah, I had a similar experience to that at the place that I toured, among other issues. But hopefully, in the near future, we do like an apartment tour episode or preparing to move kind of episode, and I'll talk more about that then. But yes, that's been kind of an issue with a lot of listings I've seen so far. Is like, what a nice area. Should we live in this place that hasn't been updated since 1982? Yeah. I don't know.
That's a great question. And also, yeah, it's what you do qualify as walkable. Because my place is, in theory, not walkable at all. But I'm also just a block away from the square where I've been performing, which is an bunch of antique shops and a food truck there, and I've befriended all those people. Those people are lovely. Thanks for not being awful. John, Joe, and Steve. You guys fucking rule. And then I'm it's just right past that is the pizza place, and there's this Mexican restaurant. So there is stuff, but I'm nowhere near a movie theater. Everything else, grocery store, all that I have to drive for. So I don't know, maybe it's getting older. I'm accepting less. I guess I don't necessarily need to be able to walk to the grocery store. I don't necessarily need to be able to walk to a movie theater, but I still would enjoy those things. So maybe I should prioritize that more. I don't know.
It sounds like both of us are maybe not immediately, but are both thinking of looking for other places to go.
For sure. I mean, this is our last, at least for now. We'll see where time takes us, but this is our last home in California. I'd say we are looking at Washington at this point, which I think most of the areas we're looking are relatively walkable, so that'll be nice. You're
gonna live walking distance from Dick's?
I used to.
Yeah, that'd be a rough one. I'd be walking over there all the time.
There's my apartment, 2 blocks up is the Walgreens I worked at, and then I think I want to say 3 city blocks, but it's a college right past the community college. There's Dick's, where they shot that Macklemore music video.
Yeah, I have looked walking distance to In-N-Out Burger from some of these places.
Then you can start getting in the planning of I know when they're not actually busy.
Exactly.
I can make that work.
Do my reconnaissance work, yeah. I have In-N-Out Burger every day at 11:15 a.m.
Yeah. It's just good and cheap.
Yeah. So I think, we love walking. We love walkable neighborhoods. A thing that will never become commonplace in the U.S. due to histories of automobile lobbyists. If you look into some of the history of the country, and but we like those things, and we like when people are either nice to us on a walk, or leave us alone.
Yeah.
Actually, real quick. Okay. This is just a little thing that I don't like. That's another way we could title this podcast. But sometimes
another thing I don't like.
Yeah. Something that I've encountered as I've walked to work. I guess 2 things. I don't know. You talked about walking fast, faces passing your homebound, but when people are walking faster than me, I don't like that.
No.
When people are walking slower than me, I don't like that. And when people are walking the same pace as me, I don't like that either.
No, that's the worst of all.
It somehow is. But the thing I wanted to talk about was people who, rather than like if you and I are walking towards each other, I expect a mutual movement where we each move to the side and then can pass each other.
Yeah.
Some people, either out of lack of like a spatial awareness or out of just ego, will refuse to move. And whether that means you have to walk in the street now with all the cars, so be it. I guess that would be the leaving us alone but still mean section of the, those 4-quadrant graphs where it's like mean, nice, talks to you, leaves you alone. That's in that box of mean but leaves you alone.
No.
Stop
Sometimes
that.
when you're walking around, someone will just grab your hands and fold into a circus tumble.
Yeah, that does happen?
Happens to me.
Okay.
I will say, Mr. Will say, when I was in high school, and I was in high school once, you walk around those halls. We were a small school, so they're not like super wide halls. Pretty small to standard school halls, I'd say. And so there's a lot of just people walking back and forth. You're kind of brushing shoulders with future famous people. And at a certain point, I just, I'm a very, apologize for myself sort of person. I always have been. And I find myself constantly being the one to move out of other people's ways. So there was a period where I was just like, I'm going to try something. I'm just not going to ever move. So I became one of those people briefly just to see what happens. And it is interesting to see that, like, people do just get out of your way. Like, it does work. It's not it's not the nice thing to do.
Right.
But
they'll get out of your way, but they'll also be like, this fucking asshole.
Fuck this guy. It was just weird to experience because you kind of think like, but I'm me. Maybe if it's me doing it.
Right.
Then people just hit me in the shoulder and be like, get out of the way, fuckhead.
Yeah.
You fucking dork. But no, I guess anyone can do it. Put your mind to it. Be a dick for a sec.
Yeah. I don't know that I love that lesson, but it is true.
It's true.
I can't refute that part of it.
Listen, don't be a dick for life, but get it out of your system. Be a dick for a sec.
Huh.
That's the lesson of this episode.
Interesting.
Be a dick for a sec. You never been a dick for a sec?
I have,
simply
for sure.
must.
I mean, I did suggest you bring in a picture frame to the pet food store.
You got to get it out of your system, or you'll bring a picture frame to a pet food place.
It's true.
Listen, we love to walk. We love Togos.
Look, we all need a little dick release sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
How do you, real quick, and we got to get to this quiz, but how do you feel about you're at the airport, you hit a walkway? Are you a person that uses that to propel yourself forward and walk faster, or just stand on that thing? Give yourself a break.
No, I prefer to propel myself and walk faster. My wife is somebody who is, in general, unless we're in a hurry for some reason, is like, let's not even get on the walkway. Let's walk off the walkway. Get even more exercise.
Walk off.
And to an extent, I do think that that's fair because enough people on the walkway will just stand there and block the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you want to propel yourself.
I go to the side. I stay out
Yes,
of the way.
as you're supposed to.
Yeah. But 9 times out of 10, unless I'm in a hurry, I'm all about stopping on that. Give myself a break. I don't want to be here.
The thing about, I don't know how often you're at the airport, but something that I've noticed in my many recent travels, there's a convenience level to the 4-wheeled suitcase, right?
Sure.
But man, do people use that as just a way to take up even more space. It drives me nuts.
Self-awareness, spatial awareness, I guess, is more the thing. It's, I don't know, it's bad. People, and I don't know if it is people just going like, I don't care.
Right.
Or if it is people that like would care if they realized you're being a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Even on an escalator's thinner. But if you're at the airport, there's enough people. Some people are in a hurry. Like you go to a side. But no, some people are real happy to just stand there, put their bag at the side of them, and just take up the whole thing. I don't know. What's wrong with you?
I know. I do think it's interesting. I don't know if you've felt a change in this or not, but I feel like almost since I don't know if it's since the fires or since the swearing episode, but I do feel like I swear a lot more on this podcast now. Maybe since early last November. I don't know.
There's a lot more to swear about.
Different events that have happened.
A lot has happened.
When I saw that the president was going to do a joint address to Congress, I thought it meant that it was going to be him and Musk doing a joint address.
Might as well.
I know that sounds like some hacky Fozzie Bear-esque joke, but that's actually what I thought it was.
I mean, it's believable.
Should we get to this quiz? By the way, if anybody wants to get to other episodes of this, you can do that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pocket Casts, HowDoWeHuman.com. You can check out our social media. We are at HowDoWeHuman on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And you can also send us an email to howdowehumanpod@gmail.com.
That's part of that. It's an email address.
So if you did figure out what song Evan was trying to sing at the beginning, you can let us know there. Evan, you did bring your lead back up to 2 last week. The score is now 42-40. You feeling confident today?
So confident.
If it helps you get more confident or less confident, question number 1 is a music-related question.
Let's go.
Typically more your strong suit than mine. Yes. Jean-Pierre Rampal was best known for playing what instrument? The piano, the flute, the cello, or the violin?
I am more familiar with Jean-Pierre Jake Paul.
I'm more familiar with Jean-Pierre RuPaul. So this doesn't really help either of us.
Listen, I've never heard this name before. They sound French.
They do.
I don't know if that gets me anywhere. French horn isn't an option.
I'm between 2 of them with essentially no basis for what it could actually be, but I have my answer.
On one. I have my answer as well.
I'm going with violin.
I'm going to say they're a flautist.
Okay. My other guess was piano, by the way, for anybody who gives a shit. It was flute. Good job, Evan.
All I said to myself was, I don't think I know the name of a single flute player, so let's go for it. Hansen's disease, mbop, is another name for which ailment? Tetanus, whooping cough, leprosy, or German measles? Hansen's disease. I've heard of Hansen's disease. I don't know though.
I have my answer. And I think it's wrong.
Yeah, same. I'm going to say German measles.
That's what I'm going to say as well.
Because Hansen sounds
Hansen's
German.
disease. It was leprosy.
All right. What do we
Question number 3. In classical mythology, who was tied to a rock and tortured by a giant vulture? Hercules, Atlas, Prometheus, or Perseus?
This sucks. This is something I've known.
I am
like
90% sure that I know the answer. So I will let you figure yours out recently, first.
And because I do not remember.
This is the most confident I've been in a while.
Fuck. Don't you write giant? Oh God, it all feels right at a certain point. Okay. I'm gonna say Atlas.
I'm gonna say Prometheus.
Okay, that was my first guess.
It was Prometheus.
Right. Isn't that nice?
I love it when it's a question I know the answer to. It's rare, but man, do I love it.
The region known as the Fertile Crescent is centered in which part of the world? Southern Africa, South America, Southeast Asia, or the Middle East? The Fertile Crescent.
This is maybe how you felt about the last question. This is something I'm pretty sure I should know, but I have a guess, but I'm going to look real dumb when it's wrong, but I have my answer.
Fertile Crescent. Nothing is. One thing did come to mind, and then I thought about it. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to say Southern Africa.
That's a solid guess.
Thank you. It's one of the 4.
It is. I'm going with the Middle East.
That was the one I wanted to guess.
Well, that was correct.
2 in a row. That my first instinct would have been right. God damn it.
Last question, Evan.
Fuck.
The term Cupid's bow is particularly used in reference to which part of the body? The kneecap, the upper lip, the fingernail, or the armpit? I have never heard this in my life.
I have heard this before, but I do not remember. Couldn't be that. Cupid's bow. Okay, I've got my answer.
Okay, I have my answer too.
All right.
And I don't know I don't know how I feel about it, but I have my answer.
Go for it.
I'm going with upper lip.
Fuck you. Me too.
That is correct.
Wow.
You do keep your lead, Evan.
At the end there, but only by 1.
So I was able to chip away at that lead again. That now puts the score with me having 43 points and you still ahead with 44.
How often do I just have a full quiz where I'm just like, I'm going with my first instinct the whole time, and then I'm wrong every single time?
Yeah.
That was painful.
These quizzes are difficult.
They're tough. Started off good with a flautist.
The fact that I'm like ecstatic to have gotten 3 out of 5 right is embarrassing.
That's pretty good, though.
That's the highest I've done in a long time.
That's where we're at. Yeah.
And also where we're at is at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
bye.
Take this Fertile Crescent for a walk. Okay, bye.
The Fertile Crescent is what I call my upper lip.
Okay, bye.